Welcome to People. I'm Micah Mater. W.E.B. DuBois was a leader in civil rights, academics, and social reform, and a profound voice on experience of African Americans in the United States. But few know much about him. Why? We're going to find out. Chicago filmmaker Rita Coburn has set out to change that with a beautiful documentary that premieres in about a week. Here's a look at W.E.B. DuBois, Rebel with a Cause.
I very early got the idea
that I was going to prove to the world that Negroes
were just like other people.
W.E.B. Du Bois is arguably the greatest black intellectual scholar activist in American history.
He's one of the most educated men.
Wow. Director Rita Coburn is joining us in the studio this morning. Rita, thank you so much for coming in. I mean, it makes me want to turn it on and watch right now. Oh my goodness. Why W.E.B. Du Bois?
Well, I'll tell you that when I first started on this journey, I didn't know very much about him, but I remembered my time with Maya Angelou when I was working for Oprah Radio. I would go to her home and record her. And when I did that, she talked to me about W.E.B. Du Bois and looked very saddened when she didn't think that I knew enough. I always hid that in my heart. And after I had done her documentary, one on Marian Anderson, it came on a board online that WNET American Masters was looking for a director for W.E.B. Du Bois. And I thought, this is my shot to learn more about him and let other people learn about him. And I felt that Maya Angelou would have wanted that. And I felt that I was now ready for that documentary.
Well, he lived a very long time at 95. He influenced so many people, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Why don't we know about him?
Well, I love that you say including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. because I believe when he died on the eve of the March on Washington, still taking the stage, even in his death, he was really passing the baton on to Martin Luther King, because at that time he did his I Have a Dream speech. And I think that we don't know about him in the way that we have reduced him to sound bites in the culture. He had a beef with Booker T. Washington, with Marcus Garvey, or we say he's just about the talented 10th, but he was so much more than that. And I think that's what we have to do, is excavate our history.
You mentioned all these fabulous names, you know, who meant so much in our history. He fought so hard for racial equality. He talked about it all the time. He wrote 21 or so books. He, as you were telling me a little while ago, he wrote articles every week. This man was so much and so influential, and it took this long for it to get out about him. You know, at this age, I mean, people, you know, people our age don't know about it, so you know people younger don't know about that.
Yes, and I thought it was really important, and that was one of the reasons. I knew that this was medicine. I knew that you had to be heavy and deep because he was, and you couldn't shortchange that. At the same time, I felt that getting Viola Davis and Common,
that's some heavy hitters,
and Jeffrey Wright and Courtney B. Vance involved would at least bring more people to the screen to learn about a man who's so relevant today.
How hard was it to get a lot of the pictures that you got and the film?
Okay, so the archival was really difficult in the sense that you needed to dig through it, but his second wife, Shirley Graham, had saved everything.
Wow.
And so she sold a lot of that to the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. She had his papers put there. So I was able to get the research, his papers, and a lot of the archival, but I did have one deficit, and that was because he was born in 1868 and started to come into his own before 1900, we needed to find more archival. And so I used art in addition to film that may have come from Europe, because they were ahead of us in film.
What are some things about him that we just absolutely do not know that you tell us in this documentary?
I think we peel back the onion and we say, instead of the sound bite, we put the talented 10th in context. We look at him as being a self-made diplomat, and we see him all around the world. And I call him a rebel because he took no prisoners. He may have had a beef with Garvey and Booker T. Washington, which we explained, but he also went up to 7 presidents and said, this is not right, the way that you're dealing with us. Woodrow Wilson probably being the most egregious to him, and he took them on one after another.
Sounds like he had no fear.
I would say so.
Does this make, doing these documentaries, how does it make you a better person?
I think it makes all of us a better person when we watch a documentary, because unlike some of the wonderful television that we watch that gives us an opportunity to have escapism, people who are watching a documentary are searching for some portion of the truth. And for Black people in particular, and for all people, it says the Black mind is this expansive, has this much potential, and you should feel lifted up after you watch this. Here's somebody who was fighting for voting rights, and you're still fighting for them,
voting rights.
but he was your first he was your first line of fire for that.
He laid the path for so many people.
He did.
Well, you know, Mother's Day is tomorrow, so you are a mother.
Yes.
Tell us what it's like being a mother, and tell us a little bit about your mother.
Well, that's so wonderful. I think being a mother is one of the greatest gifts you can have, to bring children into the world, because everybody isn't able to do it, and but everybody's able to have a mothering spirit.
Yes.
And my mother did that for me, and she taught me a couple of things, like you don't have to answer every question you're asked. You can simply be quiet and listen. And that when you love, put all your eggs in one basket. Your basket is good. You can get another basket, but if you don't put everything in it, you'll never know what you could be. And I think that's something I learned as a mother.
Oh, and we just saw, is that your mom right there?
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
How long was she with us?
99 years.
Wow.
99 years.
Wow.
And it was, I think you always realize even more after your parent passes, but I had that time with her, and it was time enough to become an adult with her. So that was one of my blessings.
Exactly. Rita, can't wait to see this documentary. Looking forward to it. You can watch, well, it's W.E.B. I want to say DuBois. You said he was from Haiti, which has the French influence, but he called it DuBois because
he felt he was an American.
All right. You can watch W.E.B. DuBois, Rebel with a Cause, on PBS May 19th.